going on, guys? My name is Coach Chai, YouTube channel Donkster Born Bob Bill for Theme Park News, and welcome to a Theme Park Newsroom update from Alton Towers. Now, before we get started, I have a huge shout out that was requested on one of the Frontier City videos. So a huge shout out to a big fan of the channel, Michelle M. Thank you, Michelle M, for sending in your shout out. If you want a shout out in any of tomorrow's videos, then comment down below your shout out. And I will shout you out in one of tomorrow's videos. So basically that's the shout out for today's videos, because obviously we're recording both videos today. The other videos from Thought Park Fright Nights, you guys will have probably seen the teaser by then. But this video is on Alton Towers, on some speculation that I saw when I was reading through a post on Facebook. Now, this isn't confirmed in either way, but I'm going to sort of take it as it is. With the speculation, what's been said. So basically, someone has said that the recent speculation has suggested that Cloud Cuckoo Land at Alton Towers Resort is set to close after the summer holidays. Now, this ties in. Now, the post that I saw this on, I believe it was a reply on a picture of House of Monsters, of course, the scare maze that replaced the Wobble World site. After that, closed to the Towers Living Care program. Now, they overloaded, like, they put like a little sticker on top of where it usually says returning at this year's Scarefest, and the sticker says next year's Scarefest. So that, in my opinion, fuels the fire that Cloud Cuckoo Land will be closed after this year's summer holidays, ready for a 2020 retheme, so that the scare maze sort of feels more at home with the themed area. So I think obviously it could just be a usual thing that they do, where they just try and cover up one of the stickers with a new one. It could just be that. Obviously we have to see both sides to it, but again, on the speculation side of things, I think it's a way of saying it's returning for next year's Scarefest in a brand new area. That's just how I see it. Now, the big rumour is a Lego themed area. Now, I have to stretch, it's not confirmed, and again, like the Legoland Water Park, this has nothing to do with the takeover by the Lego family. This must have been planned like months, weeks before the Legoland takeover, the Lego family takeover of Million Entertainment even was talked about, let alone happened. So I think we just sort of got to forgive Alton Towers for that if this is true. But to be honest, I know people are going to be sceptical if it is a Lego themed area, but you know what? Going on the basis of if it is true, and we are expecting a Lego World or a Legoland coming to Alton Towers in 2020, I think that is going to be a fantastic development for Alton Towers. Many people are going to be sceptical. I knew, like some people with the Alton Towers dungeon when it replaced Charlie, I was very sceptical of the Alton Towers dungeon when it was first announced. Because I wasn't sure how it was going to go down. It was replacing a childhood classic, and I went and did it this year, and you know what? It was good. It exceeded my expectations just. I think I agree with many people that there was too many blank spots in the ride. However, some of the blank spots actually worked, travelling down that sewer in the Black River boat ride. So, you know, there's still a few hitches here and there. The talking head scene was back. Which was nice, because I heard that a talking head scene was removed weeks before I went, and it seems like it's back with the wise man at the end of the boat ride, and then the talking head and stuff like that. So I'm guessing that scene's come back after a few sort of minor adjustments. However, you know, Alton Towers Dungeon I was very sceptical of, but now I've grown to it. But I still don't know whether it's going to be here for the long term or just the next couple of years. I don't know when it's going to be here for, but if it's only here for a couple of years, I'm glad to have got the rare credit. Same with Nemesis Subterra, that's only been open for a few years, so very happy to have got it. And I'm sure a lot of people that were around in the 90s when I wasn't born will remember Nickelodeon Out of Control, so if you've got that credit, that's very, very rare. So I think with this development, I'm very excited, because you look at the sort of attractions you've got in this area. Obviously you've got the dungeon, that's its own separate plaza. I'm sure they're going to do like an Alton Dockyard or an Alton Courtyard with Hex and Alton Towers Dungeon. I think the most likely option, if they're going to do a retheme into Legoland, is remove that Cloud Cuckoo Land sort of entrance statue, place a an entrance sort of closer to the theatre, like right opposite the theatre, but sort of in those, like in between those two walls where the House of Monsters is and the green wall that's blocking off the old Twill and Toadstool site. So I think they'll do like a new entrance archway there, and then they'll use sort of Alton Towers Dungeon maybe as a new ride for Fountain Square, along with Hex, the Legend of the Towers. And again, they'll do another archway, like another Legoland archway, going into the driving school area. And looking at the attractions in Cloud Cuckoo Land, so you've got the Twill and Toadstool site. I'm sure they're going to use that site really well. Maybe they'll do one of those, obviously because we haven't got a drop tower now that Subterra's gone, maybe they'll do like a family drop tower, or maybe one of those, like the Lego parks, like do one of those like power towers where you sort of pull yourself up and then you drop. I don't know. Maybe it could be a parachute drop, you know, those kinds of classic attractions could be vital. Of course, the Cloud Cuckoo Land Theatre is available now. Of course, I'm sure Frog Hopper's going to be on the way out at some point. But, you know, with knowing Alton Towers and the way they don't want to get rid of it, even if they've got 2 drop towers in CBeebies Land, if they were going to keep it, they'll retheme it and place it back in its original location. If not, I would like to see something done to Nickelodeon Out of Control. I'd like to see a Lego Madhouse. And sort of do like a nice modern fun house, like a real classic attraction. Or something else done to the Nickelodeon Out of Control site. So you got that site, you've got Twill and Toadstool site, which I think could be home to some kind of power tower or a family drop tower, something like that. Or maybe even a thrill drop tower, we don't know. The Cloud Cuckoo Land Theatre, I could see that just being another Lego themed 4D cinema film. Or it could be a Lego Movie live show maybe. Maybe implement some Lego brands into this Legoland area. The driving school, I could see that staying and become the Lego driving school. The carousel, I'm sure we're going to see like a brick carousel, like a Brickville carousel kind of thing. That could be another name for the area, Brickville. Or Legoland Brickville or something like that, but I think Legoland or Brickville could be the easiest options. Wobble World, I don't think we're going to see that transform into some kind of Lego themed playground or like Benny's Spaceship Play Zone from the Lego movie or something like that. I don't think we're going to see that, however I would like to see that, but I do think that with House of Monsters saying it's returning for 2020 Scarefest, I think they're going to use that site for House of Monsters again at Scarefest next year. And it'll a bit like Terror of the Towers where it took a year off. I think House of Monsters is taking a year off while Cloud Cuckoo Land gets redone over Halloween and winter, etc. And I do feel as if House of Monsters will return for next year's Scarefest in 2020. And if it is going to be a Lego themed area, I think they'll implement some Lego characters, really bring in like the Lego Vampire and the Count Dracula and stuff like that from the Ghost Haunted House Drop Ride at Legoland Billund and Haunted House Monster Party that opened this year at Legoland Windsor. I think they're going to implement some of those characters from that story and sort of bring them into House of Monsters as like a Lego themed scare maze for the families. Of course, they've got Darkest Depth down in Mutiny Bay to replace the Welcoming Bee chosen for this year's Scarefest, so it kind of implements that family lineup a bit if it is replacing the Welcoming, which it looks like to be doing in the courtyard of Mutiny Bay. But I do think that House of Monsters will return with like a more Lego-based storyline if it is going to be a Legoland-themed area. Of course, we don't know that yet. But again, it's just speculation that Cloud Cuckoo Land's closing after the summer holidays. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, or maybe in the next few weeks, we may get an announcement from Alton Towers saying that Cloud Cuckoo Land is closing after the summer holidays and will be fenced off, ready for construction to begin on a new area for next year. I think that's what we could be looking at if it's true that Cloud Cuckoo Land is closing after the summer holidays. So let's have a bit of a rundown then on the history of Cloud Cuckoo Land, because of course Cloud Cuckoo Land existed first back in 2009. It opened along with Sharkbait Reef, which was a new aquarium for Mutiny Bay, which replaced the old 3D cinema building. Now, Cloud Cuckoo Land was a retheme of the original existing Cred Street, which of course replaced Land of Make Believe. Now, Cred Street was getting on a bit. Obviously, we had the classics back in the days of Cred Street, like Toyland Tours. We had Barney, the Tweenies coming into the playground that used to be it used to be Wobble World and now House of Monsters. And of course, the theatre space before it became a 4D cinema. 2009, Cloud Cuckoo Land was born. They brought in the Twirling Toadstool, which is a rethemed Ugg Swinger. Of course, we know that's not coming back now, ever. I think that's been destroyed now or scrapped, because that's not coming back. Along with Subterra, we did a video on the permanent removal of Twirling Toadstool and Nemesis Subterra when that was announced by Alton Towers. And I think now we sort of, even though this is just, you know, speculation, I think that the announcement that Toadstool isn't coming back plays into what we could see next year with Cloud Cuckoo Land, if this is true and not just speculation. So Cloud Cuckoo Land was born in 2009, and of course, like I said, you had the Twirling Toadstool, which is the rethemed Ugg Swinger, you had the Carousel, and you had rides that were existing through the last years of Cred Street. You had Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which came in 2006, the Peugeot Driving School, which is now known as the Cuckoo Cars Driving School, that was introduced in 2007 with that Peugeot sponsorship. I'm not going to lie, right, I've actually got an MP3 file of the driving school the old video, you know, with the Jolly the Lollipop Lady and the little song that she does. I've got that video as an MP3 file on my music player now, so I can just listen to that when I need to feel happy and stuff like that. But no, I think Cloud Cuckoo Land's had a big history. Of course, 2012, they brought in Ice Age 4D after the Go 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 show ended in 2011. Now, the only reason I think the Go Go show, Mr. Go there, I think the only reason that show was added in 2011 is because they needed something new, because of course the cancelled plans for Shrek 4D. Basically, if you don't know about that, basically back in 2011 there were plans to build a Shrek 4D cinema in the old Big Top Ice Arena, which is now Big Fun Showtime and CBeebies Land, but this was when it was known as Old McDonald's Farmyard and Storybook Land. I remember those days fondly. I remember listening to the Bookworm, I remember going on Doodle Doo Derby, I remember going on all those children's rides, the tractor ride, back when it was the tractor ride, the Riverbank Ice Spy, I went on that, with 2D and 3D scenery. Yes, I remember the 2D scenery, I remember it well. Yeah, so many memories down there, and of course the plan was to build in the old Ice Arena, which was SBNO at the time, a Shrek 4D film, and retheme that whole Storybook Land and Old McDonald's Farmyard into Far, Far Away. But of course DreamWorks pulled out of the project. Of course they went and did the Shrek Adventure in London, which is their sort of midway attraction that opened just a few years ago. And then of course those 4D cinema plans sort of got brought back, but in a brand new way and in a brand new different way. And they brought in Ice Age to do it, and the Ice Age 4D experience was born in the same year as Subterra in 2012 over in the Cloud Cuckoo Land Theatre. So of course, since Ice Age left, of course they only debuted the new film for like a year or two, which of course was the No Time for Nuts. Before that, they just showed Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs, which was the third movie at the time. And then of course last year or two they debuted No Time for Nuts. Of course that film's now on show, or was on show at Drayton Manor. Of course they've now revealed that they're doing a brand new Thomas Land film in that cinema over at Drayton Manor, which is interesting. Well, not surprising because it's Thomas Land and that's what they do at the minute. And of course there's speculation, you know, what's going to happen to the theatre? Are we going to have a Lego live show? Are we going to have a Lego 4D film? And even if it's not Lego, is it going to be 4D film? Is it going to be a show? We don't know, but I think with this speculation, even if it's just speculation, I think we're already sort of getting a hint that Cloud Cuckoo Land is on the way out. Of course, this year it's celebrating its 10th birthday, and don't forget, Cred Street was around about 10 years old when it got taken out for Cloud Cuckoo Land. So again, 10th birthday, is it on the way out at the same time as Cred Street? We don't know, we don't know. This is just speculation at this point, but I think, like I said, if they are going to do a Legoland area, if this is true about a Legoland themed area, I think that Legoland themed area is going to absolutely work for Alton Towers. I think with Lego doing eccentric theming, I think that there's real potential to do a beautifully themed area and really spruce it up. Obviously the nice painted walls around blocking off Twirling Toadstool's side, and of course at the time Charlie's side, before those walls sort of got taken down and the wall got split off just to block off the Toadstool side when the Alton Towers dungeon opened. You know, it made it look nice, but again it felt very flat and it felt very drained, that area. So again, very excited to see what's going to happen from this speculation. Are we going to get some form of announcement? And if we do, I'll bring you a separate video basically giving you the statement, if they've released a statement, what we know about what's going to happen and when it's going to close, etc. But from this video, I'm definitely very excited for 2020 at Alton Towers. It's the 40th anniversary of the park. I'm sure we're going to get some kind of live concert, the biggest ever fireworks display in history. I'm sure Scarefest is going to be bigger and better next year. It's already good this year, and I'm definitely looking at going to Scarefest this year. I think this year is probably the one year where I absolutely are on the edge of saying yes to Scarefest this year, because other years have been alright, and it's sort of, well, there's been other events here and there that have sort of drawn my attention away from Alton Towers Scarefest. But I think this year, I think Scarefest is one of those that's really drawing my attention, especially with the attic terror of the towers, and sort of experience that history and that heritage of Terror of the Towers. But there we go. So that's this sort of speculation kind of video from Alton Towers. Like I said, it's just speculation. It's not confirmed in either way. And I haven't got sort of like a link to any of the sources, because this was on a Facebook post. But if it is true, and Cloud Cuckoo Land is closing after the summer holidays, I think we're on for a new area next year. So thank you very much for watching this Theme Park Newsroom update. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. Big shout out, of course, to Michelle M, who gave me your shout out. So thank you very much, Michelle M. If you want a shout out in one of tomorrow's videos, comment down below and I will read your shout out. Thank you very much. My name is Coast Chai, YouTube channel belongs to the Born but built for Theme Park News. Keep living the coast life, and I'll see you guys in the next video soon. Take care. Have an awesome day, my friends.